Good morning, everybody. October 9th here on motherboards.org. Halloween vibes are going around. It's getting spooky, but that's not why we're here. NVIDIA has yet another launch this morning. That's right, another launch from the people over at NVIDIA. And today we're going to be looking at, right off the bat, the brand new ASUS. This is their GTX 650 Ti, and it's the DirectCU 2 top version. We're going to do the unboxing, the specifications, and the full performance review all in one big huge shebang. So with that said, let's jump in right now, do the unboxing, and then see what this new GTX 650 Ti is all about. Let's jump in. So let's check out the box first, which actually tells a lot about the card. Right here you can see it's the ASUS DirectCU 2 top card, which means it's basically overclocked right out of the box. As you can see down here, some of the features. I'm going to flip around the back of the box. It gives a little bit more in depth. Now, these are some of the very, very important things about the card. The DirectCU 2, 20% cooler and 3 times quieter. DirectCU 2 means that the copper plate is directly up against the GPU, making all the heat dissipate away from it, keeping it much cooler. So there's support for 4 HD displays. And then the Digi-VRM plus Super Alloy Power gives 30% less power noise and 2.5 times longer durability. This means that basically the card is made of the absolutely most high quality parts that you can get, which will not only make the card run a lot cooler, it'll make it run a lot longer. These are basically the main specs of this card that are specific to ASUS. Now let's jump in the box and check out the card and the stuff that comes in it. So there's nothing really to do here. I don't have to use a knife or anything. These cards don't come with plastic wrap or anything. So let's go ahead and just get the thing here so you guys can see. Pop the cap. Go ahead and pull the box out. Set this off to the side. So we're gonna have the content right here on top. So let's talk about the content first. All right, folks, so it looks pretty much though like the pickings are pretty slim on this. I mean, you get the basic essentials. You get the driver and the GPU tweak software. And the GPU tweak software is basically an overclocking and monitoring program. Works very good, works in Windows 7, Windows 8. You just install it, run it. You can overclock your card, control everything through that. Then you get the speed setup guide. Basically just tells you how to use all that stuff. And I'm always kind of surprised that the people at ASUS don't give you like a Molex to 6-pin connector card. I guess they just assume that you're going to have the proper power supply, which most people probably do, but it's good to be redundant. So that's all that stuff. We'll set that off to the side, and we'll go ahead and get to the heart of the matter, the card itself. So I'll go ahead and pull this card out, and I will set it down. And first off, we'll go ahead and do the measurements of the card. Out of all the 650 Ti's that I've seen yet, this card is definitely the biggest one, for a fact. So this card is coming into market at 11 inches. So you know it'll please any lady out there. Once again, we see the height being 4 inches. And we see the width at about 1¼ inches. So that's all the measurements. They'll be translated in centimeters on the screen back behind me, as you guys see. Now let's go ahead. Right here on top, we can see the 2 fans. This is all part of the DirectCU cooling. I'm going to turn the card to the side. They have everything pretty well blocked so you can't see it that well, but I'll try to find an angle that you guys can. Here's the PCIe interface. Here's a shot of the card. Now, actually here you can kind of see it. Here's some more of the cooling right here. These are the cooling fins. I'm going to flip it around for the top. Actually, the other angle this way is probably a little bit better. It's kind of hard to see, but the whole cooling solution is underneath this complete grid. They've covered it very well here. You can see single 6-pin power connector required. No SLI finger at all. Single card technology. Here's the back of the card. For you guys who are very picky about your PCB color, you'll see this is black neutral, so that'll make you happy. Show you guys last but not least the rear I/O. 2 DVI, single VGA, and a single HDMI port. Now that we've seen the card and what comes in the box, let's now check out the features of the new ASUS GTX 650 Ti. Now this card has 768 CUDA cores, 1 gigabyte of GDDR5 memory. It's got a 128-bit memory controller. Bandwidth is 86.4 gigabytes a second. Now this card's considered to be overclocked. The GPU clock, it says, is 1033 megahertz. The memory on the card is 1350 megahertz. Supports DirectX 11, OpenCL, CUDA, PhysX, Direct Compute, all that good stuff. Also supports up to 4 monitor technology, but since this card only has 1 gigabyte of memory, I really doubt that it's going to be able to play those resolutions very well. So with that said, folks, let's now rock out to the benchmark song and check out the performance of the new GTX 650 Ti from the people over at ASUS. So all right, folks, there you can see it. Now this card is obviously not made to play at 2560 by 1440. You guys can see that the card's falling pretty much flat on its face at that resolution, no matter what game or application I'm throwing at the card. Now, for 1920 by 1080p gaming, the card does pretty good. Now, is it going to play your first-person shooters like Battlefield 3 at its highest resolution? Hell no, we won't go. But at its medium settings, it plays it pretty doggone good. Now, like I said, this card's sub $200. If you're a person out there and you play StarCraft 2, World of Warcraft, anything like that, this card is going to be the superior card for you. It'll play all those games like a hot knife through butter. If you're a first-person shooter gamer, this card is pretty much very, very entry level for you. It doesn't play things at 60 frames per second, even at 1920 by 1080. It's more like in the 30 to 40 frames per second range, you guys can see from the test. But at the end of the day, the ASUS card is very cool. It ran no hotter than 56 Celsius, even when I had it running under firmmark, which totally stresses the card out. So you know the card's gonna run very, very cool in your system. So it runs cool. It does run quiet. It's not the fastest card at the end of the world, but for an entry-level card, I give this card an editor's choice here on motherboards.org.